And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. Your consumer advocate, making you more street smart here on the show. Reach out to the hotline or check out consumerqb.com. We'd love to connect you with our 80-plus categories of consumer advocate content and advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We have a special guest today as well, Nico Miola. He's a fundraising officer for Children's Cancer Center. We like to allocate some of our time for local area nonprofits, so we're going to bring Children's Cancer Center on the program later on in the show. Fred Muth, a.k.a. the Tin Man, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Contractor tips coming from Fred Muth. And Captain Will Smith, private pilot, here going to be on the program in just a moment. Before we do, I want to let you know about a couple of our hot listings here. We got a $1 million listing at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. $1.159 million listing of ours. Beautiful property. We just did a small price reduction on that at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive. 5,200 plus square feet, 5 bathrooms, gorgeous estate-style home, and it's located at the Estates at White Trout Lake, right there in the Carrollwood area. Spiral staircase to the second floor, also a private elevator, large master suite, granite countertops, new appliances, pool, heated spa, and a large fenced-in corner lot. 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. Beautiful property right here in the Tampa Bay market. We also have a commercial property at 507 South Prospect Avenue in Clearwater. This is a commercial building. It's got 12 rooms, 2 bathrooms, 2-story office building close to downtown Clearwater, just minutes from the beach as well, close to, right off of Gulf to Bay, 507 South Prospect Avenue, Clearwater. Great opportunity. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Captain Will Smith on the phone lines here. Captain, let's jump right into it. So pilot issues, airline issues, cancellation flights. We've been seeing that a lot in the news lately.
Yep, and it's going to continue to get worse. Just the other day, we were speaking earlier, about a week ago, I was coming back from Manassas, and there was a 3-hour ground stop because Jacksonville Center, the ATC controllers, weren't available to work the airspace between 20 and 50,000 feet. So this created, obviously, ground stops for the commercial guys. They were just lined up on the runway waiting to depart, but couldn't go anywhere because they couldn't handle the flow. And the flow was about 3 hours. Is what the average ground stop was through the whole eastern corridor. And this is going to continue to get worse. As long as they keep on mandating and pushing people to do these jabs, the air traffic controllers are fed up with it. The ones that didn't get the jab, they're mandating them or forcing them to wear a mask, and they're like, we're not going to wear a mask either. So they don't show up for work. Well, when that happens, it's the domino effect. It affects everybody, even us, as a private guy flying the corporate jets. We have to file to different airports and then divert just to get into Tampa, or drop down below 20,000 feet and burn 3 times the amount of fuel that we would be burning at 40,000 feet or above. So it costs money to do that. And it's just the idiocies of what's going on. It's just getting way out of hand.
Yeah, the air traffic controllers, the pilots, the issue with the jab, it's really crazy to see. And I was worried. We just took a family trip, and we're about to take another trip to a wedding up in the Northeast. But you kind of dread going to the airport these days, especially if we're not flying on one of your beautiful jets, Captain Will Smith. We fly commercials sometimes, and so when you think about that, I mean, just the challenges, and then you go through the whole TSA, and they're checking bags and all that good stuff, but it's a challenge for people. And then you think about the economy, a lot of the issues going on with the economy. Families are getting hit harder than ever, especially in the real estate sector. People looking to buy homes are getting, it's just a challenge because you've got competition from hedge funds and a lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, it's I do know my industry's picked up more, even though it costs more to fly privately. People don't want to take that risk because, I hate to say this, but you got about a 50-50 chance when you go to the airport you're going to make a connecting flight or just your flight doesn't get canceled because the pilots time out. American, and I was reading this article yesterday, American Airlines, someone had hacked into their scheduling program for their pilots, and they had to cancel over 12,000 flights over the 4th of July weekend and this past week because they didn't have pilots because something went wrong with their scheduling. So they would have a plane full of people, flight attendants, and not a captain or not a first officer. So you got to have 2 pilots flying these planes, so they were having to cancel these trips, and they were offering to pay double if the pilots would come back off their day off and work, and the pilots were like, no, we're not going to do that.
Right.
But it's making a slow turn to where now the pilots have the advantage over the airlines, and when the airlines were mandating all these shots and getting rid of all these pilots and making really stupid decisions, and we discussed this months ago.
Yeah, the wokeness.
What's going to happen? They've really put themselves into a corner, and they're not going to be able. It's going to be hard for them to get out. And who suffers? The consumer. So consumers can expect the prices to double, and they're going to keep on doing that because of the delays and because the airlines paying their pilots double. The pilots already make 6 figures, $250,000, $300,000 a year. They're going to double that just to get them to come back to work. Who do you think is going to, that's going to affect? It's going to affect the consumer.
Yeah.
So it'll wind up at some point. It'll be cheaper to fly on a private jet than it will a commercial airline.
Yeah, ticket costs go up. A lot of things go up, and it's the DC elites that are pushing these policies just to it's hard to understand the reason why they're doing that. Captain Will Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check him out online, CaptainWillSmith.com. He's written 2 books as well. Falling from the Sky, movie as in process as well, and Ditches to Riches. I want to play a quick clip here kind of talking about this recent kind of a spat between Bezos and Biden.
Well, the state of the economy really seems to be crushing voter enthusiasm among Democrats and driving it up among Republicans. In the early days of his presidency, as the economy began to falter, President Biden's message that it was temporary and that Russia was to blame seemed to be working with his base, or at least keeping them from getting too upset with him. But that no longer seems to be the case, as the majority of Democrats now disapprove of the president's handling of the economy. And it's interesting. It's starting to draw him criticism from people who previously supported him. For example, Jeff Bezos, the billionaire founder of Amazon and owner of the Washington Post, called out Biden on gas prices this weekend. When the president demanded gas stations lower prices immediately, Bezos tweeted that Biden is either deliberately using, quote, misdirection or has a, quote, deep misunderstanding of basic market dynamics. So very harsh words from someone who was previously viewed as an ally. Yeah. And that's kind of in line with what we've seen from voters more broadly, too, at all levels of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, so the Biden economics, you can't blame Putin forever, right? And then the low approval rates. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how they're starting to turn on him. He's temporarily, he's gone. He's going to be gone at some point here.
Well, it's you can't fix stupid, Brandon.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when ignorant people vote for ignorant people. This is the result that you get. And now they're all standing around with their hands up in the air going, well, how did this happen? Well, we didn't see this coming. Well, we could have wished we could have flipped a switch to make, no, it's just ignorance. It's plain ignorance. And they're so disconnected from reality up there in the White House. It's unbelievable. I mean, how long is it going to take for them? They can't keep on playing defense. How many excuses can one person or a group of people, make for one person? It's outrageous.
Tell me about what you were talking about before with the reserve fuel sent to China. I hadn't heard about that story.
Yeah, so they just found out that the reserve fuel that Biden had taken out to help ease the cost at the pump for the American people is now being shipped to China.
Wow.
And that just hit I've been watching it today on the news. And I'm like, what are we doing? I mean, what is this? I feel like the White House has been hijacked by China.
Well, it makes you think about what would have happened if that Biden laptop came out. I mean, what was on that?
Yeah.
The 10%.
Oh, there was a lot. It
right.
keeps on a little bit more, keeps on coming out. And everything that came out of Biden, it was a lie. His whole party are liars. They deceived the American people. This is treason. This is treason. When a president does what this president is doing to this country and to the people of this country, that's treason.
Open border, southern border.
I mean, well, that's and that we're being invaded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We are. The only difference between a war is these guys don't have guns in their hands. Maybe some of them do, but majority of them don't. but they're invading our country.
Yeah, they got fentanyl and drugs and all that
And
coming
they're
across.
killing American people. I mean,
Yeah.
18 between the ages of 18 and 45 are all these deaths. 80-some thousand, millions of people are dying, drug overdose.
Record numbers.
Yeah, and it's just letting it, continue to happen. We're being invaded, and everybody's walking around, with their head in the air, in the clouds.
Well, here's another clip too, and I think the Arizona, the Arizona Attorney General says it well, because you got a Department of Justice going after all the wrong people. They're basically politicizing the Department of Justice, going after conservatives, going after journalists, going after Rudy Giuliani, going after General Flynn, all these different people. But now the biggest one is they're suing Arizona for their election law that they just put in place to make sure that people were citizens when they went to vote. I'm going to play a quick clip.
And what are those qualifications?
According to those acts, to cast a ballot in a federal election, voters have to fill out the official federal form, which has a citizenship question on it. Applicants don't necessarily have to provide documented proof that they're a citizen to complete the form, but they do have to attest that they are a citizen under penalty of perjury. So the DOJ says that Arizona's new requirement to provide documented proof of citizenship is barred under the 1993 Act because the federal form addresses citizenship. Essentially, they say that proof of citizenship is redundant and therefore an undue burden. According to the Justice Department, the Arizona law also violates the Civil Rights Act. The act prohibits denying voting applications based on errors or omissions that are not material to establishing an individual's qualifications to vote.
Now, has Arizona responded to that suit?
Yes, I talked to Attorney General of Arizona, Mark Brnovich, and here's what he said.
The Biden administration has a long history of lawlessness and a lack of appreciation for the Constitution. And so my immediate question is, why is the Department of Justice using its times and resources to challenge a common sense election integrity measure in Arizona to guard against non-citizens voting, while at the same time the Biden administration is opening up our borders wide open, and we've had millions of people, illegally enter our country? So is the federal government literally attempting to undermine our sovereignty and destabilize our election infrastructure? I mean, I think people can draw their own conclusion.
Is the federal government undermining our sovereignty? That's the question.
They are.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they are. You have to be an American citizen to vote for America. I mean, are Americans allowed to go to Canada and vote for a prime minister, or go to Mexico and vote for a presidente, or go to Europe and vote for the prime? No. American people vote for American presidents, just like you can't have an American president run unless he was born in America.
Yep.
Unless you're Obama, then you get away with everything. If you're a Democrat, you can do whatever you want to. The laws don't apply to you.
Yeah.
Which has really got to stop. We really got to stop that, and we need to stop it now.
Undue burden. They say undue burden, but I'm sorry, but proof of citizenship is not an undue burden. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back more with Captain Will Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm going to talk about his partnership also with Cons, helping reduce the recidivism rate here in Tampa Bay, working with Thomas Yunk over at Cons, helping Cons. More with Captain Will Smith coming up. Later on in the shows, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and Children's Cancer Center coming up. Stay with us. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the Real Estate Quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel. Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. We really appreciate all that call into the show and support the program. 813-917-1894. You can also email brimes@kw.com. 813-917-1894. BRIMES@kw.com. Thanks for supporting the program. We greatly appreciate you. We got a hot property listing here at 7643 Stony Hill. This is in Wesley Chapel. It's a gorgeous property. Just hit the market. Great opportunity in the Wesley Chapel area of Tampa Bay, Pasco County. 1,800 plus square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, open floor plan, split floor plan, no CDE, low HOA, desirable Palm Cove community, oversized waterfront lot on a conservation. And it's top-of-the-line appliances as well. New AC unit includes smart thermostat. Amenities include community pool, 3 playgrounds, dog parks, basketball court, and trash service. 7643 Stony Hill Drive, Wesley Chapel. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find one you can't live without.
And you can buy dirt also. We got a lot of vacant land listings, so reach out if you're in the market for commercial and residential vacant land and lots available for sale from the Platinum MVP team. Keller Williams Realty. All right, Captain Will Smith here on the program. Captain, talk a little bit about your story, and then let's relate that back to your work with Thomas Young and Cons Helping Cons.
Well, years ago, I was put in a position where I was wrongfully accused, and then I got an unfair trial by a Democratic judge, and I wound up spending 26 months in prison where I fought for 26 months for my freedom, had the conviction overturned. And when I got out, I noticed that their process of allowing people that are incarcerated as returning citizens, there was no process. There was no way to bridge being locked in a prison cell to being free again. And it's, the system set everybody up for failure to come back because they need you to come back because you're business, and that's good business if you come back.
Right.
And I wanted to help with reducing the recidivism rate. So I paired up with a couple of 501c3 Cons Helping Cons being the big one to where, we are helping these guys. I've created a book. I've created a workbook. And this workbook and this book is steps to their success. And that's ditches to riches. Because when I was released, I was sleeping on a couch. I had no bank account. I had nowhere to live except my friend that allowed me to sleep on his couch. I had no job. I had no car. I had nothing. I was completely broke and didn't have anywhere to go. So I had to rebuild and regain everything that I lost. And while doing that, I was taking little memoirs and little notes. I'm like, people need a step-by-step program to become successful because without it, you will fail and you'll wind up going right back to the same things that put you in prison. So now there's a chance for people. Cons Helping Cons is that chance. We're reducing the recidivism rate by allowing people, returning citizens, to be productive in their community, have a job, have food in their stomach, and a little money in their wallet, and work towards owning a company. like I did. I owned a pest control company, but I started digging ditches. And so you have to start with the little things and work your way up. And now I go to the prison systems and I talk to the men and women that are returning citizens and giving them an opportunity to succeed instead of setting them up to fail.
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of that's based on the mentorship role that you guys play and Thomas plays. And he's got mentors in that system. And they get out and they help pair them up with employers. Employers love to work with these guys because they are, earnest in their want to get back into the community and to be a good citizen, tax-paying citizen, and getting back into the flow of life and getting back to it. So Cons Helping Cons, free to serve on Facebook. You can find Thomas's page there, Cons Helping Cons, free to serve on Facebook. And Captain Will Smith here on the show talking about private pilot and private opportunities to fly. What are you seeing else, in the pilot side, and how can folks, if they want to engage with you?
Well, there is such a shortage now. By 2025, the airlines, just the U.S. airlines, will have a 31,000 pilot deficit. That's how many pilots they need between now and 4 years from now. And they're, where these guys are pulling are out of the private sector. So the charter side is going to need, another 26 or 27,000 to fill the charter side and the corporate pilots. So there's a huge deficit in the next 5, and it cannot be filled. And this is why. Being a pilot at that level and that skill set to get to, that 3, 4, 5,000 hours, depending on how much you're flying, airline pilots, they're limited to 1,200 hours a year. Once they hit that number, they turn into a pumpkin. They can't fly anymore. So when you're pushing all these pilots to work all these hours to get from month to month, when they come up to the end of the year, they get November and December off because they can't fly anymore. They've hit their regulation requirement for rest and how many hours they can fly. This creates a huge void. And in order to get that 4,000 or 5,000 hours, that takes 5 or 6 years to get there.
Right.
So if someone goes out and gets their commercial pilot's license, that's great, but it'll be another 5 or 6 years before they'll be able to get the skill set and level to fly these big jets. And you can't hire pilots because they check a box.
Right.
You have to hire the ones that have been doing this that have 5, 6, 7, 8,000 hours, because you have the lives of hundreds of people in your hands. Not just the ones in the airplane, but the ones that you're flying over too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, I believe it was United Airlines saying that they're going to hire more black pilots or whatever it was, something along those lines, prioritize that, which is, it's kind of crazy to think that, they're putting skin color above skill set and, kind of going with that type of a model.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make any sense because you're going to have very inexperienced pilots flying these airliners. This has happened in other countries to where you have a 300 or 400 hour FO sitting in these jumbo jets with a captain who only has maybe 1,000 hours. And we've seen the air catastrophes that have happened in Indonesia or Indian Airlines or over in Afghanistan, where these big commercial jets have gone down over the water or over the Pacific or over the Atlantic. So, and the reason that's happened is inexperienced pilots.
That's right.
Generally, a air accident or incident, it's not mechanical, it's pilot error.
Yeah. Captain Will Smith, what's the website? How can folks find you?
They can go to willsmithaviation.com, or they can email me at will@willsmithaviation.com. My books are also, if you want information about that and what we're doing with the community, that's at captainwillsmith.com. So I have 2 websites. So they can check out either at the website and they can contact me through there.
All right, good stuff. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you, Captain Will.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right, coming up, feel-good story of the day. Mickey Sudo eats 40 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. Tampa competitive eater wins Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rives.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Brandon, I got Fred right here.
Fred Muth, how you doing, sir?
Very good, Brandon. Yourself?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
All right, I'm on the road right now, so if you hear some screaming and hollering, you know I'm not having a good traffic day.
Okay, gotcha.
No, you're not going to hear that.
Brandon, before we start, I need to do a mic check with Nico.
All right, Nico, give a little mic check there, buddy.
Mic check, mic check.
Alrighty, as long as he can hear himself, I'm good.
Yep, and you want to try to, you can kind of twist that to where, see how you're, there you go. Yeah, see how you can see your face there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Awesome. All right, here we go. John, you ready?
Yep.
Fred, you ready, bud?
I sure am.
Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, also the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We like to help our sellers profit more. Certified negotiation expert, part of the sports and entertainment division of Keller Williams, as well as the luxury division and commercial. So we'd love to help you buying, selling, or investing vacant land, residential, commercial properties. We are a top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay, and $2.1 billion in sales last year out of our 3 offices. So we'd love to help you win. And we feature our listings live on air on 80 different outlets worldwide, maximizing the exposure, maximizing the profit for our sellers. So reach out if you're looking to sell property, 813-917-1894. brimes@kw.com, 813-917-1894, BRIMES@kw.com. Hot property listing here at 14121 7th Street, Dade City. This is a restaurant for sale in beautiful Dade City. It's the downtown area. And it's a gorgeous property as well. This is you have the walkability of downtown, and you've got 2 dining rooms. You got one upstairs, one downstairs. You got a banquet hall upstairs as well. 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment. That's what I love about this listing, is you have the opportunity to have an on-site manager living in the property in the restaurant. And 14121 7th Street, Dade City. Great opportunity for a restaurant purchase here in Tampa Bay. Perfect entrepreneurial investment, plenty of parking available, and owner is motivated. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, so we normally do our feel-good story in the 4th segment, but I want to get Fred Muth's opinion on this one now, so I'm going to tell you something good this segment.
Tell me something good.
All right, so Tampa competitive eater wins Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. Mickey Sudo eats 40 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. Tampa competitive eater reclaimed her title as the world's top-ranked female eater during the annual Nathan's Famous International Hot Dog Eating Contest. The competition was held on the 4th of July in Coney Island, and Mickey Sudo, who lives in Tampa, scarfed down 40 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. And she's quoted as saying her personal best, and my personal best in women's world record is 48 and a half hot dogs in 10 minutes. Yesterday, I ate 40 to win. I really thought I was just off, which was odd because I had practiced just 10 days prior. And it talks about how she skipped she was pregnant the previous year in 2021. But wanted to bring in Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred, what do you think? Can you get close to that 40 hot dogs in 10 minutes?
I eat 40 hot dogs in 5 years, so I don't think I would qualify.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so that's very good, but I just I don't know if I could. 3 or 4 at one sitting would be pushing it.
It's amazing how they can get those down, man. They train for that. They train for that. The picture on the screen is pretty crazy.
It's got to be some serious training. I don't know how you would really train for that. But anyway, that's another subject for another show.
That's right.
Probably not your show.
Yeah, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred Muth, you're a longtime employee and friend of the owners, friend of the program as well. Fred Muth here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. What are you seeing out there, my friend?
As I mentioned on the last broadcast, The economy is definitely starting to slide, come back to a normal pace is what I see. And in some cases, I welcome that. I believe that the screen companies and the contractors are still going to be able to do very, very well because they're not going to be completely overwhelmed with sales leads and business, which I don't complain about, but in reality, we've experienced that where we've become overwhelmed with sales leads and contracting, getting things moving. We handle it just as everybody else can that's qualified. In some cases, it's not a good feeling for me to look my customer in the eye and make a statement such as 6 to 9 months to get your cage built.
Right.
I don't feel good about that, but I have to tell the truth. But I truly feel that time frame is going to shorten up fairly soon because, supply and demand is one thing. And, of course, when housing slows down, our industry, we ride the coattails of the housing industry. Housing slows down. I think some of the sales in our business may slow down where we will be able to get things accomplished much faster.
So 6 to 9 months. That's your average right now for a new build for a patio, screen room, lanai, pool cage. You're telling people 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9 months, and that the variation, that 3 month variable, typically is determined by the supply and shipment of materials, which I don't believe too much of what I'm hearing of why things are slowed down. I hear a lot of excuses. I think there's a lot more to it than the average person is supposed to know, and I think there's a control factor there, and I better not say too much because I've seen similar situations in my 30 years of doing this, and when typically when housing slows down, things move fast. Much faster. So I believe things can move faster now, but in some cases, if you slow down the supply chain, you have an excuse to raise prices. That's how I feel. And once again, I'm going to not say too much more. I'm making myself in serious trouble here.
Yeah, and then you get into the permitting side of the business. We haven't talked about permitting in a while, but what are you seeing with the local municipalities?
I think it's getting better. Typically, once my engineering is completed, and we get them to the municipality, we can, in most cases, have that permit back in about 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, providing there's no snags. In the city of Tampa, there's a lot of other concerns that always affect the permit, and I've mentioned it many times before. Ground elevations, trees, location of trees, overhead power lines. There's a lot of factors that come in. A lot of times when I sign the job, I document notification of all of these concerns, and it goes in with the permit application. However, sometimes it may sit on somebody's desk a little bit longer when there's these incidences that come up to be addressed. And if you get a new person in there, they may not know typically how to deal with it in a fast manner, and they may have to run it up the ladder to the superiors. And I see that, and I don't really find fault with that. I think it's a very good way to operate, to make sure that all your bases are covered before the project is built. When you get outside of the city of Tampa, there's a lot of things that go on that I don't necessarily agree with, but they can be passed by unincorporated Hillsborough, Pasco in some cases, and these municipalities, they see these projects in a totally different light than the city of Tampa. The city of Tampa really dots their I's and crosses their T's before they issue the permit, and I can appreciate that.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're talking with Fred Muth here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and can build you a beautiful pool cage, the lanai, the patio, the screen room. And, Fred, we talk about contractor tips. So all our show is all about being that consumer advocate and tips for consumers, both from the pricing standpoint, from the negotiation standpoint, and how the process, what to expect during the process. What are some of the top tips that you would give to our audience out there?
Well, every homeowner really needs to do their homework regarding contractors. And my advice would be to begin with checking the license. Make sure the license is correct and accurate. Make sure that what the sales representative is expressing upon the first meeting A lot of times they do a lot of what I call blowing smoke, which I don't agree with. Careful of that, because some salespeople are real good at that. And if there's any questions whatsoever, bring them up. Do not be apprehensive about asking questions. I had one guy say to me, well, I was a little taken back by asking you all these questions. And I said, why? He said, well, the last guy didn't want me to ask the questions. I said, well, I'm not the last guy. And I explained to the people that I appreciate the questions more than they could imagine. Even if the questions are redundant, it's irrelevant to me. Because if I forget to mention something on a project and they bring it up, I'm very thankful. That way I eliminate the possibility of a surprise in the back end.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I am when I'm, talking about listing a property, or, I do about 6 to 8 listing appointments per week to bring on new inventory for our real estate team. And when I sit down with sellers, a lot of times this is the first house they sold, or maybe they sold one 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And there's a lot of questions when it comes to, selling, buying real estate, building on putting on a new screen room onto your home, or adding a pool cage onto your home, to your pool. And you got some pretty cool designs now too, Fred. Let's talk about that. Some of the newer designs that you offer from Tampa Screens and Aluminum.
Well, I'm on my way right now. I'm in transit to one of my projects in South Tampa. It's not done yet. It's half done. And this is one that I need to take a photo of and get to you because it is an extremely unusual design. And the unusual design has to do with the existing house roof and the way the house was built. I signed the job. I learned that 2 other companies wouldn't even want to bid it. But I knew that with Tampa Screens, we had a very good method of design on a project like this, and we were able to get the job and put it together and make the customer extremely happy. The frame is up, and the screen fabric is not in yet, and the customer is very, very happy with the design of the cage, which, like I said, other people would not even take it on as a bid because of the unusual design at the rear of the home. And I call this one, in some cases, a double hip gable mansard roof. And another screen guy would look at me like I had 3 heads when I stated that.
Wow.
But when you look at the job, you can see the all the different designs in the roof that other companies did not want to probably challenge. And I could see a pretty good design when I put it together. Then I sent it over to Richard for him to tweak it, so to speak, and he tweaked it and came up with a much better design than I originally came up with, and it's one to be proud of. So we do take on some unusual projects, and that's kind of it keeps my fire lit in this business. I've been doing it so long. When they become mundane and typical cookie cutters, the job becomes less exciting. When you can get out and see something that's unusual and know that you can make it work and present that to the customer, that's a real uplift in what I do. I mentioned before on the show, it's not, in my case, it's not always about the the money that you make and whatever. A lot of times it's about when you see the finished product and the smile on the customer's face, and they're completely satisfied with the way the project was handled. And you know that in your mind that you had this design initially. And in some cases, it's real difficult to get an unusual design from your mind to their mind. But that's part of the challenge of doing what I do. And I really try to express that initially. And of course, we do drawings and this and that and the other when we bid the job. But it's not 100% engineered drawings when we bid it. It's basically it's a typical sketch of what we're going to do. And then in some cases, if they're really unusual and we sign it up, we will have the customer review the engineering prior to they're okay with it. But minor changes. But
all right, we're losing our cell signal there, Fred. We're losing a little bit of signal, but give us a shot. We want to see pictures of that for next show. We want to put those pictures on the screen of that unique design you've got there in South Tampa.
I sure will. Can you hear me now? Are we back?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's the website? How do you want people to connect?
It is TampaScreensAndAluminum.com. Best way to reach the company, in my opinion, is the telephone at 813-960-7064. We get the majority of our leads that way. And then, of course, I have my own personal cell that people continue to call me and give me leads on the personal cell, but I won't push that out over the air.
Okay, All right, awesome. Good stuff. Thanks so much, Fred, and we'll talk to you next time.
Great. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Coming up, Nico Miola, fundraising officer, Children's Cancer Center, going to be on the program here. Talk about Children's Cancer Center, community involvement, some of the events they have coming up, and more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And make sure you check us out online at consumerqb.com. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martine Gramatica, Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text, complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win. Powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Got a hot listing here at 27641 Lincoln Place in Wesley Chapel. This is a gorgeous property up in Pasco County. You got about 3,000 square feet, 3.24 acre lot, 27641 Lincoln Place, 4 bedrooms, 4 bath. And it's in the Saddlewood Estates, air-conditioned 3-car garage, breathtaking views of a conservation area. I think of that. That's what I love about this. It's not just a big lot. It's 3.24 acre, but backyard, there's no neighbor, and you've got a conservation area, so you see turkey and deer and all types of beautiful birds and wildlife. You've got a Butler's Bar service area, screened-in pool and lanai, minutes from the Cove, Tampa Premium Outlets, and Wiregrass Mall, 27641 Lincoln Place, Wesley Chapel, and you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And a shout out as well to Bilmar Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Say hello to Clyde Smith and the team over at Bilmar Beach Resort at Treasure Island. And not a cookie cutter hotel. Chain hotels are all the same. Hilton, Radisson, you got the two restaurants on site, that is Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant. Bilmar Beach Resort, not a cookie cutter hotel. Longtime friend of the program. Check them out online. Book directly, BilmarBeachResort.com. And make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers. All right, we got Nico in the house from Children's Cancer Center. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. I appreciate the invite.
Awesome. My pleasure, man. Always love to help the Children's Cancer Center. You do a lot of good in the community, helping a large amount of children. I forgot if it's in the thousands, though, that you help every year, right?
Well over 1,000. Our philosophy is that when a kid's diagnosed, so is the whole family. So our programs and services certainly reflect that, too.
Yeah, that is, man. It's awesome. We had a cool event a couple months back over at Top Golf. I was able to work it as the MC there with Patty, and also have been a part of the Wine, Women, and Shoes event. That was a fun event, too. But these events are really a way that your organization's Children's Cancer Center raises money and supports the Tampa Bay community.
Yeah, that's really the philosophy of how it goes. I think, when a kid's diagnosed, their life kind of flips upside down, and then, it becomes such a unique path for the parents, for their siblings, for the guardians, for kind of everyone surrounding them. So like I said, our programs really try to not just help the kids, but help the family and any kind of shortcomings on those short-term immediate needs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, it is the whole family. I mean, it's, once the children get diagnosed, it's like, oh man, and then it comes into like everything from transportation to the treatments, and then some of them lose their hair. I mean, it's just a tough time for those families.
Yeah, and I know I'm recently newer to the center, but one of my first times at a program night, I was taken back because you see with the kids, you see how tired the parents are, you see what the kids are going through physically, mentally. It really it affects you negatively, but then when you wake up in the morning wondering if you want to go to work, you have that reason why you wake up knowing you're making a difference. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
You got to drive, it gets you that moral compass, that drive to go in and make a difference.
It really does. And I can't say enough about the community too. You guys have been so great, just wrapping your arms around, our center, our community, our kids. So we can't really thank everybody enough who's contributed and helped us.
Yeah. I know there's some great companies out there that we should thank, like Casper's, I believe, does a lot, right?
Casper's Cares is definitely up there. I have to give a shout out to Panera. They're one of our core building sponsors. They're actually going to be supporting a renovation for one of our part of our facilities. So there's a lot of, just like I said, great community stakeholders. I'd hate to point out a bunch and miss a few, but yeah, so there's just a couple.
Yeah, exactly. I know there's a lot of great doctors, attorneys, all different types of, folks in the area supporting the Children's Cancer Center. Now, you've got this Fall Stampede coming up. That's on September 10th over at Busch Gardens. It's a pretty cool opportunity to go into Busch Gardens and enjoy a day.
Yeah, so the Chick-fil-A Fall Stampede, it runs just about every year. I'm not sure if the COVID years detoured those plans, but so it's a 5K run or a 1 mile family fun walk/run that you can go to. Like Brandon said, it's on September 10th at Busch Gardens. If you do sign up for the run, you'll also get 50% off of the admission for Fall Stampede at Busch Gardens that day as well. So really cool opportunity. It's a great chance for potential vendors to come and sponsor the event. We have great vendor tables, which is a great chance to just interact with the community, show your products, spread awareness. So what better way to do marketing with a philanthropic angle?
Yeah, exactly. Philanthropic and having a fun, kind of a ambiance there and environment of the Busch Gardens. That's a fun place. It's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, I don't know how everyone feels about roller coasters and things like that. But,
yeah.
It can't be too hot too in September. It feels like a great time. And given that also September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, it's yet another great way to just, emphasize our mission and showcase what these families are going through and how this community helps them.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you just joined us, I'm talking with Nico Miola, fundraising officer at Children's Cancer Center. By the way, Children's Cancer Center is right around the corner from where we're broadcasting here over on Cypress Street. Do you know the number, the address? Right on Cypress Street there, but just right around the corner, just on the west side of West Shore. So right there on the north side of Cypress. So if you ever want to check in, go say hello. Sometimes, they have different hours where you can go visit and kind of see what they're doing, all the good stuff that they are doing. So you mentioned in June you had a $100,000 fundraising event.
Yeah, so last Sunday we actually hosted what's called Ride, Restore, Refresh. It's 30 minutes of cycling, 30 minutes of yoga, and 30 minutes of refreshments. And we partnered with Union 3, the spin studio in Channelside. They came and joined us, brought their whole arsenal of bikes. It was a really cool event. There were 4 heats, each consisting of 40 people, and a lot of other vendors and communities. So during the afternoon, there were a good 200 people who were cycling and, coming in and out of the center that day. Really cool. Definitely, we battled the elements
That's
with
great.
the heat, but it was a really cool event, especially because we had some child ambassadors who come and they ran around during the yoga and the cycling. So, when you were coming, you were able to see what your fundraising efforts were going towards.
Right.
So it's really, really special.
Yeah, that's awesome. And get out there, get warmed up on the bike, and especially doing it outside and this time of year. And one of my favorite things to do a few times a week is a few times a week is to do hot yoga. So I enjoy that, man. You get the muscles pliable, you get a good sweat going, and then grab a shower and off to work. Or a lot of times I come into the studio right after that. But yeah, it's a good workout.
Yeah, for sure. I think I felt bad because there was the heat definitely made some of the yoga mats pretty hot. So people were like, "Wow, this is super duper hot." But
Yeah.
People do hot yoga voluntarily.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
where they weren't in the minority, I think everybody could adjust to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we got about a minute left. So let's kind of reiterate: Fall Stampede coming up September 10th, Busch Gardens, 5K run, or you can do a 1K family walk type situation. And you're online at childrenscancercenter.com. Is that right?
That's correct. You can see us on Instagram. Children's Cancer Center is the tag, and then we also have a Facebook. So a lot of great posts, a lot of great stories that go out. And like I said, just a great way to get marketing and visibility through our events, because there's so many well-connected community members who just care about our kids, care about our mission. So like I said earlier, what better way to do some marketing through the Children's Cancer Center?
Yeah, absolutely. Get involved with the community. You feel good about it, and you know you're doing a lot of good in the community. Children's Cancer Center, Nico Miola, fundraising officer on the program here today. We also had a Rise Nutrition program. We ran out of time, but Rise Nutrition program sounds pretty interesting too. Maybe we'll cover that next time. Nico, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for coming in, Brandon. Look forward to the next one.
Hey, my pleasure. And we had Captain Will Smith on the show, as well as Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and of course Nico. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.